Buddha.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday. How's everybody's night going? How is everybody's day going? Hopefully, you're all having a good day. Hopefully, you all had a good week. I got our special guest. I got former Major League Baseball pitcher Kyle Farnsworth on the show. Kyle, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing amazing. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. I see you got your buddy there. Who's the pup? Who's the pup?
Here's one of them. This is Georgia.
Georgia. Okay.
Yeah. So they're all rescues, and she's deaf and blind in one eye.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a sweet little thing.
Yeah, it looks that way. I mean, definitely showing you a lot of love. So,
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So, yeah, talk to us, man. How's life outside of baseball? What are you up to these days? Like, what do you do with your days now? Now that there's no baseball anymore, you don't play baseball. Like, what's going on, man?
I still do, still lift, do train and all that kind of stuff. That's the first thing my wife and I do in the morning.
Nice.
Something I've always enjoyed doing, even when I was playing. So it's just part of our lifestyle, and that's the first thing we do in the morning. And since I've been done with baseball, I've been started getting into coaching, and I do a lot of lessons and private training, with everybody, not just athletes, just regular people as well. So later on in the days, I do my training with athletes and my clients, and specialize in training programs and nutrition for them as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. I checked out your page. It looks like you have some sort of camp coming up in is it for pitching or in a couple of weeks?
So I have a couple. One here in Florida. It's going to be for pitching and strength and conditioning at Double Play batting cages where I work at, and then trying to get one in the works up in Chicago at the end of in December, between Christmas and New Year's. So that's still in the works. But yeah, I got a couple of things excited about coming up.
Nice. Do you must really enjoy the coaching aspect of it? I mean, you seem to do a lot of it. You probably like coaching better than you do playing. Is that a safe bet?
No, I do not.
No. Oh, okay.
I'd rather play than coach. That's for sure. But I never thought I would do it and enjoy it as much as I do. But I guess the older we get, or the older I started getting, the more I realized how lucky I was coming up for my career, of how much help I had around me, coaches, trainers, and stuff like that. So I was very fortunate to have a great, village to help me to get where I was, and just to be able to give back to, the community and the kids, to, the knowledge and experience that I've gained over the decades of being around, the professionals, the guys, and, strength and conditioning coaches, and, just to learn and help spread, what I've learned to, I love working with little kids because they're like new pieces of clay. You can mold them, the right way. I'm not saying the way I teach and stuff is the best way, but, it's tough getting teenage kids where they've been taught not the right way, bad mechanics and stuff like that. They're harder to fix than the younger kids, but it's just a lot of fun doing that, than to watching them learn and apply it, and watch them, they start noticing the changes and they start getting better. And that's the joy, is seeing the smiles on their faces.
Yeah. Awesome stuff, man. Yeah. I mean, especially with kids, if they're coming up playing the sport, you got to teach them the right way. Because a lot of those kids, they'll be playing video games like MLB The Show, and they're going to be like, I want to do what that guy's doing in the video game. But you gotta teach them the right way, bring them up the right way in the sport. As baseball can be a very hard sport. So, I was gonna say, you're still in pretty good shape. I mean, even after baseball, I know you said you still lift. I know you got into bodybuilding, right? Was
Yeah.
bodybuilding something that you did prior to baseball, or how long have you been doing that for?
No. So when I was coming up, that was in the era, so I started lifting probably my freshman year at college.
Okay.
Maybe I grabbed a weight here or there before, but really with a program, my junior college with Abraham Baldwin Agriculture College. That's really where I started to lift. And, obviously they would make us lift in the minor leagues and stuff like that. And it was just something I enjoyed. I never really went out, and I was always in the gym training, just trying to, better the odds for myself because I was drafted in the 47th round. So I had more to prove than the higher draft round picks. So, and then I started noticing that I was getting stronger, started throwing harder. The more muscle mass I get and get bigger, and just started doing that, and then just watching or just trying to figure out lifts to do and nutrition and stuff. And that's when I started, following the likes of like Ronnie Coleman, Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier, Kevin Lavroni, all those kind of guys. Just trying, that. So that's how I kind of got into bodybuilding, and I enjoyed it, and it was pretty cool just watching how you can transform your body and stuff like that, especially in bodybuilding. So after I was done with playing, I was like, all right, well, I've always in the gym lifting and beating myself up, so why not give it a shot? And I did my first show three years ago, and for 3 different categories, and won first place in all 3. And it's just a lot of fun. And each, I've done one show every year, so I've done 3 shows total. Did one this year, came in second place in one division, a third in the other. But it's just the progressions and making constantly adjustments year after year, kind of like baseball. You have to make improvements. You got to get better. You got to work on this. You got to work on that. Bodybuilding is kind of the same way. And you are in control. It's just you. There's no one else to blame. You can't blame the coach. You can't blame your trainer for your bodybuilding. It's up to you if you want to put the work in, the nutrition and stuff like that. So it's really your self sport. And I didn't realize how rigorous and hard it was from just the nutrition part. The posing is probably one of the hardest things to do. Just practice flexing in your poses and stuff like that. That's just as hard as the workout. But I have earned a lot more respect for that. All those people in that industry, for them, for the getting ready for a show. 3 months out, what do you have to do? Eating chicken and rice and broccoli over and over every day for it gets tiring. The mental part.
Yeah.
So just a long story short, I've always enjoyed lifting and stuff like that. Just, it's kind of, mesmerized by I think I was little, I saw the muscular skeleton, like we'd see in science class, and I always thought it was kind of cool. Like, oh, wow, that's really what the muscles look like. And then from G.I. Joes and the figurines, muscle, the He-Man and stuff like that. So, but, I'm glad I got into that hobby as opposed to something bad, I guess.
There's always worse choices out there, no doubt, man. But you brought it up, man. I mean, the thing with bodybuilding and like just like baseball, you have to be disciplined. You have to you have your diet. You have to be eating right at all times. And I know diet is key, especially as an athlete, because you can train and work out and do all those things, but if your diet is not where it needs to be, if your nutrition is not where it needs to be, you're not going to perform. It's that simple. So I understand, and I've met bodybuilders, and I'll tell you what, just some of the rigorous training that they have to go through. I'm like, man, that's that takes a lot of dedication and a lot of time and discipline, and I respect it. I totally respect it because it's just a very small percentage of people that are really doing that, and it sounds like you really enjoyed it and really had have a passion for it. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun. I had to give a lot of credit for my wife to be able to allow me to do it, because there's times where you get cranky with lack of carbohydrates and get irritable and stuff like that, and she'll yell at me and stuff like that. But it's part of it, and I'm just very fortunate that she's there supporting me with it as well.
Yeah, And that's also important too, having a wife that supports you in your journey. I mean, that's even a bigger motivator,
Yeah,
So,
sure.
um, we you touched up on, the draft when you got drafted in the 47th round. I know you got drafted by the Cubs, but
Yeah.
you ultimately didn't sign until 1995. Did you just go back to the college to get some more playing time, or what was the story behind that?
Yep. So I got drafted out of high school, and I also had a scholarship to play at the junior college I just mentioned, Abraham Baldwin Agriculture College. I got a scholarship to play there, and I didn't think I was ready to go into the minor leagues, but then also JUCO was the perfect route because you can sign after 1 year in JUCO as opposed to if I went to a 4 year, I would have to wait until I was a junior. So, I had an idea that I would, either go back into the draft or sign with the Cubs. So, I went to, college and, played well there. And, after that, I, signed in '95 and went to rookie league after that.
Nice, nice. And you spent about I believe 5 years with the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
What did you enjoy playing for the Cubs? Did you enjoy the organization? I know Chicago is a big, sports town, playing in Wrigley Field. I mean, it's one of the the oldest stadiums in the league. How did you enjoy your time there? How was your experience?
No, it was definitely a lot of fun. I'm just very blessed and fortunate that, they drafted me and they, back in '95, and I was with them total, for the minor leagues and the big leagues, for probably almost 10 years in the organization. So, I saw a lot of people come and go. Again, I survived a lot, for being such a low draft pick. But, that just goes back to, hard work and dedication, and, just also having people that believe in you as well, and, help you along the way. Chicago has some of the greatest fans. They love their baseball, do or die.
Mm-hmm.
The day games can wear on you. I can talk about it more now, but I probably went out a little bit more than I was supposed to, or probably should have during those times. But I was a kid and didn't really know that much, and I wouldn't change it for the world because I was having fun, enjoying it, and just very very fortunate. So, but yeah, just to be able to have the Cubs draft me and just have them be my first team that I played with, it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you played for a lot of different teams. I know you played for the Cubs. You spent some time in Detroit. Spent a few years in New York with the Yankees. You know, what was it like playing for those other teams? The Yankees, the Tigers, Royals, Braves. I mean, you played for so many different teams. Was there one that you particularly liked playing for the most or the least?
I mean, the Braves. I grew up in Georgia, so they were definitely a favorite of mine to be able to play for. The home team that I grew up watching. We knew Dale Murphy, a family friend. We were both LDS in the Mormon church, and I was able to talk to him before I got drafted and stuff like that. So to be able to also to play close to home and have my friends come watch, and obviously my family a lot more. I would say the Braves would probably be one of the best teams to be able to do that with, played for.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And the Braves, again, any player that I've talked to or that I had on this channel, whether it's current or former, have said some great things about the Braves organization. That they're a great organization to play for. I've had guys like Denny Nagel on the channel, and Denny Nagel goes way back, right? So this was like during the Maddox and Tom Glavine days, and yeah, he's always praised the Braves organization and Jimmy Cox, who was the manager at that time. So it sounds like you had those same sentiments about the organization.
Oh, most definitely. They were old school,
Mm-hmm.
but still they were fair. They let you come do your thing, but you abide by the rules. As long as you go out there and play hard and get everything you have, that's all they ask.
Yeah, I mean, and I can appreciate that. Yeah, and they always took care of their players. That's what I've always heard, that they have always taken care of their players, and they know how to develop players. So it's always and yeah, and you see it. You see it. The players that came up. I mean, they definitely do a great job. And I know Atlanta is a great baseball town. But I wanted to ask you this question here, because I know, during your time in playing baseball, you've been in a couple of brawls. You've, kind of pulled like a Paul O'Neill and broke things in the dugout, man. I mean, uh, it happens, and
Of course.
you know, especially when you're young and you're coming up, man. It's just like you got all this adrenaline, you're ready to go.
It's passion. That's all it
Yeah.
is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I can understand that. Now, you were involved in a bench clearing fight when you were with the Tigers.
Yes,
I believe it was against the Royals, if I'm not mistaken. You
that is
you
correct.
tackled the Royals pitcher.
Yes, I did.
So what was that about? Was there just verbal?
So what had happened was, so I think it was Ronalves Hernandez was pitching for Kansas City, and he hit Guillen in the foot. So Guillen starts going down to first base, and the umpire says, "No, you didn't get hit." And Guillen's like, "Yeah, I did get hit." And so the umpires talk, and they say, "No, you didn't get hit." So he goes back to the plate to hit. So Hernandez goes, "Okay, you want me to hit? You want to get hit? I'm going to hit you in the head." Next pitch, hits him in the head on purpose. So that's how it all started. So everything clears. We run in there. It was a big ordeal. We start separating guys. Finally, after about 5-10 minutes, we start separating everybody. Then all of a sudden, it starts up again. So we all come back. We never made it back to the bullpen. So we're about halfway. Then we have to run back. I'm already tired. So I'm just going in there, separating our guys from the Royals guys, just pushing, trying to just separate everybody. Yeah. So I pushed Jeremy Adfeld, and he goes, I forget what he's. I think he's something like, "Don't put your hands on me." I was like, "Fuck you, motherfucker. Sorry if I can't."
It's all good.
Sorry. I'm trying to remember it like it was. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And we had Jamie Walker, a left-handed pitcher for us. He knew Adfeld, and he was trying to tell, "You better just shut your mouth." And, he just kept running his mouth, Adfeld. So I just had enough. I just took off after him. There was like a row of players. So I go around him like a defensive end. I'm like swim moving. I forget who I swim moved because they tried to grab me.
Man.
I think it was the Lance Parrish because he was our bullpen coach. He tried to grab me, so I went around him, saw Adfeld. I pulled back like I was going to hit him in the face, but he just stood there like a deer in headlights, and I was like, I can't hit a defenseless person. That was my first thought because he didn't do anything to defend himself. I would have smashed him. So I just picked him up, threw him on the ground, then just everybody jumps on top of you. I got spiked. Someone was trying to spike me in the head. I covered up, but I got spike marks on my wrist. So it was no fun.
Man, maybe after your baseball career, man, maybe you should have taken up a career in like combat sports or something, huh?
I'm good there, but yeah, it all started with Hernandez hitting Guillen in the head on purpose.
Okay,
which was very, very pathetic. Why he did that. So, but yeah, that's how that one started.
Yeah, I was curious about that, man, because whenever some of these brawls happen, I mean, there's some sort of lead up to it. You know what I mean? There's always like some sort of lead up to it. I know. There's obviously like somewhat of a dirty part of the sport in a way where you might get targeted, and if somebody's throwing at your head, I mean, yeah, I can't blame someone for reacting. I mean, they're gonna react.
That's the thing. Yeah, there's going to be retaliation, but it's like we always say, below the waist, nothing above at the head, because that can end people's careers, and that's just trashy. There's no point of that. If you want to hit somebody, that's fine. Hit them waist out.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Do you mind if I grab like a few questions from the chat? It looks like
of course.
Cool. Let's make it happen. So this first question here is from our friend CT Cards, who's in the chat. What's up, CT? He is asking you, Kyle, what was the highlight of your career?
Oof. And there's a lot, but probably my first game when I got called up, April 29th, 1999, I faced the Marlins. And I pitched. It was back when I came up as a starter through minor leagues in my first year and a half in the big league. So that was my first big league start. I pitched, I think it was 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, got the win. My family came down to Miami and watched me pitch. So that was probably one of the top. That's the top one for sure.
Nice. And then here's another question for you. This is from our friend D-Rod. He's asking you Kyle, how is your pitching approach different where you avoided injury compared to the current pitchers, which is a constant, which is always a question that, folks will always ask because there's been an alarming number of injuries when it came to pitching this season. So, how did you overcome or avoid those type of injuries?
Yeah, I mean, even now with the kids I train, right, even in the little kids and young teenagers, they're getting growth plates broke. Another client, now I've been working with him a long time, but the parent just called me. He got a screw in his elbow. Kids are getting Tommy John surgeries at 12, 13 years old. I think what a lot of what's going on is, especially for pitchers, they need time to rest their arms. And a lot of kids now, and more over the last couple of 10 years, kids they're playing baseball year round. As for pitching, that doesn't work because it's an unnatural movement anyway, throwing the ball. And if you're pitching, 10 months out of the year, when are you're resting and you're training and you're doing heavy ball work because everybody's trying to throw 100 miles an hour. So they're constantly wearing their arms out and not giving their arms enough chance to recover and rebuild and to get stronger. And instead, they're blowing out. When I was coming up, I think, we didn't have weighted balls, but my dad got tennis balls and cut holes in them and put bolts and stuff to make them heavy. So we made our own heavy balls, but we didn't do anything crazy like they do now. Obviously the technology and training is way better, but we didn't chase that velocity. We let the body. The body also is going to only has so many miles per hour each arm. Everybody only has so much. You can only train so much to get to a certain point. Eventually, there's a breaking point, and to rush that, especially in young kids' arms, that leads to injury, guaranteed. Overtraining. We can go back to nutrition, sleep. Everything can lead all up to that to make this happen. And I took my time. I stretched. I properly warmed up. I took care of my body. I did exercises. I was very diligent, again, in the weight room, doing what I could to stay healthy. Because the thing is, we always say, you can't make a team if you're always in the training room. If you're always hurt, you're not going to be able to play. So,
right.
For me, again, flexibility was really huge. I try to pound that into my kids I train. I said, okay, we're going to stretch for 15, 20 minutes. Like, what? That long? I was like, yeah, that's how proper I took 30, 45 sometimes. And these kids they only stretch for 2 or 3 minutes and think that's good. So, but to answer the question, I just really was focused on taking my time, letting the body heal, get more rest, flexibility, doing a lot of training. That's why, I was actually discussing that with a client that I was working with earlier today about how I was very fortunate for over 2 decades I played, never had surgery for my elbow, shoulder, and I was one of the hardest throwers, consistently high 90s, 100 miles an hour, and I never had an issue like that. Yes, I had tendonitis and stuff like that, but kept it from surgery, and I kept believe that was from all the stuff I mentioned before.
Yeah, I mean, these injuries to pitchers are insane. Like this year, it's been an alarming number. It's just alarming. Like the number of pitchers that were out for the season. I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like you look at for example, the Miami Marlins were a prime example of that. Their whole rotation was non-existent. Like all of those guys got hurt. And I'm just like, this is crazy. And, they're wanting to throw they're wanting these guys to throw the ball hard, 100 miles per hour every pitch. And it's just like that. Long term, it's just, you're doing damage. And then, again, with kids, I'm hearing the same thing. You're hearing it with high school kids, even like little kids. I'm told that, they're wanting these guys, forcing these kids to throw the ball hard. And it's just like, you're not doing them any favors, because by the time they're out of high school, it's like their arm is shot. It's done.
Yeah, they're either done playing baseball because they're burnout from it, or because of injuries, and they're never able to get to where they're able, or their ceiling, because it was cut short because everybody's trying to get that scholarship at 13 years old or 14 years. They're trying. Just insane to me.
Yeah, as much as I appreciate pitchers who can throw a ball 100 miles an hour, I think that's impressive. But at the end of the day, I mean, your health becomes more important. And I mean, because once your health is down, once your health goes down, that's it, man. I mean, you're not really. What was that?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty soon. It's going to be, before you know, you're going to be done.
Yeah. And your career's over, and now it's like, okay, well, what's next? So I mean, longevity is important. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, yep. So let me grab a couple of other questions from the chat. There's a lot of folks that are, really asking some great questions here. So our friend Ken here is asking here, Mr. Farnsworth, after you left baseball, I understand you played some semi-football. And I remember reading that about you. How did you transition from being a pitcher to a defensive end?
So I played. So my favorite sport was football. I was really good at that too. But so my 9th grade year, my dad in high school, he said, "We're going to concentrate on baseball because it's less injuries and guaranteed money." So I was like, at the time, I was like, okay, I guess I'll listen to you for once. There's a moral to this story, and I'll tell it at the end. So I did play football to 9th grade, or in high school was my last time I played. But I was always playing other sports, and I was always, again, athletic, trained, I stretched. So to transition from baseball to football, obviously I haven't played in so long, and then this wasn't no cakewalk league. These kids, they were out of high school. They were legit kids. They were, college kids. A lot of guys, some played the Arena Football League. And they were just kids who did some wrong things and got their scholarships revoked because of just being stupid. And, there was some crazy talent. So, my goal was just not to get embarrassed at first.
I understand.
So I just try to pick the easiest position to learn since I haven't played. And I was like, all right, defensive end, just keep containment, hit the quarterback. All right, it's pretty simple. So, I was, like I said, I was still in good shape, playing baseball. So as far as injuries, I didn't have to worry about anything. It was just learning plays and just learning more the ins and outs of football and stuff. So, but yeah, I played for 5 years, 2 all-star teams, 3 bowl championships, 2 league championships. And in that 5 years, I blew out my left knee completely and my right. So,
oh my God.
Point where I was saying my dad said less injuries and guaranteed money. So I blew out my right shoulder playing football. So that's why, or I probably would still be pitching by now. Then my left knee completely exploded. So, but I enjoyed it. I wouldn't change it for the world. In that league, it was no one got paid. Maybe if they did, it was cash under the table, but it was because guys were still being seen by colleges, so they could go from that league to go to college. So so I was out there doing it for fun. Because I just loved it and just trying to find something competitive to do. People think I'm crazy, but that's just me living my life.
You know what, man? The way I see it is, if you're able to do it, if you have the capability, and if you're able to, if you're healthy, man, I mean, why not? Go out there, try something.
I like to say I don't want to look back and say, oh, I wish I would have done this. Wish I would have done that. What's holding people back from actually doing things? Fear.
Yes.
get rid of the fear factor of just getting, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do that. I think that holds people back from living up to their real potential and just about everything.
Yeah. Was there, I know you've done so much, right, in your life. You've done so much in your career. Is there anything where, if you look back within the last 20 years, let's say, right, was there something else that you had in mind that you were just like, man, I wish I did this? Or are you happy with everything that you have done up until this point in your life?
I think I'm pretty content of how I've done stuff. If anything, maybe not gone out as much when I was younger, possibly. Okay. If anything. But as far as all the other stuff, I think I've probably done a lot of fulfilled, entertaining life, and it's still going. So we'll see. Who knows what's next?
That's awesome. Yeah, I always get curious about that, man. Because I know a lot of people. If you in life, right? They look at the last 10 years or 20 years, they go back and they're like, I should have done this, or they come realize something that it hits them later. It's a little late. Sometimes it's a little late in life, but depending on what it is that they want to do, they could still fulfill that opportunity if they're able to. So I'm glad that you got to do the things that you wanted to do, and it sounds like like you said, you're very content. So are you still doing the bodybuilding, like competing? Are you still competing in that, or?
Yeah, so I did the last show I did was about a month ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I came in second in Class D and third place in Masters 35 plus.
Nice.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm thinking about doing another one, but they told me what I was lacking in or what I needed to improve. So again, it's like baseball. You have to make these adjustments and, make the improvements here and there. But it also is just based off of the judge's opinion of what they think too, which can be very frustrating at times. But, I enjoy it. It gives me something to do, and, going to the gym every day. I mean, even for the everyday person, it can get tiring and boring. And for me, I need a purpose as opposed to just going and working out. And it gives me a purpose, and I do enjoy it. It is fun.
Yeah, no, for sure, man, for sure. I know. Yeah, so I know, because I know you take care of yourself. Are there times where you have like a cheat meal, or do you treat yourself at all? Like, how often do you do that?
I don't do it as much as I used to, but I think I just now it's kind of my bulking off season. So
yeah,
I was having some chocolate chip cookies earlier.
Oh man, now I could go for some chocolate chip cookies now.
But I don't eat that much anymore, just because we eat so clean now. Then when I do eat bad, I get sick.
Yeah,
I feel awful. So, but if our main cheat meal is usually pizza or Mexican with margaritas, so a good time right there.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with pizza. I mean,
Nope.
Everybody loves pizza. If you don't love pizza, something's wrong. Like, I got to question you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just a couple of other questions here from the chat. So, this is from our friend Jason from 161 River Ave. Shout out to Jason. He's asking you here, what would you consider to be the 3 to 4 most effective lifts for baseball?
3 to 4 most effective lifts.
Yep.
Deadlifts, I would say reverse lunges, regular lunges, and then probably pull-ups.
Okay.
I would say about those 3 or 4 would be a good starting point.
Yeah, and I know the gentleman who asked that question, Jason. So because him and I talk about gyms and different types of workouts. So he just wanted to hear wanted to get your thoughts on that. So
right, because especially any athlete, power comes from the ground. Mm-hmm. So you have to have a strong base, and I did a lot of deadlifts, and and squats. I don't do them as much anymore just because of my achy back and knees, and just not training for that anymore. But I would go with those probably lifts, and then pull-ups. They help with the back, shoulders, rotator cuff, shoulder scaps, shoulder joint, grip, forearms. So pull-ups are a great overall upper body exercise.
Mm-hmm. Oh, most definitely, for sure. Now you spent a couple of years with with the Yankees, right? What was that experience like for you playing in the Bronx, playing in New York, playing in front of those fans? Because I've heard from players say that playing in New York, playing in the Bronx, it's not easy.
No.
And what was that? What was that experience like for you? How that pressure? I mean, talk to us about it.
No, it sucked at times. I'm not going to lie. But it's part of it. I can just say honestly, look in the mirror and say I did the best I could, and at that time when I was there, and I understand the fan base's passion of success, and had to go out there and perform to your ability and stuff like that. And sometimes they let me hear it, and I understand that's fine. That's part of it. But it was definitely tough. But it was also an honor to be able to be out there in front of that many people and that storied organization, and be able to pitch in meaningful games and go out there and actually hear them cheer and just do well for the city and represent them well. And just enjoy. There was good times and there were bad times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie. I'd be lying if even to the fans here. They know. So, but it's just part of it. It's a tough city. It's a tough place to play, and it's not for everybody.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, because there's some fans that are like that say that oh yeah, playing in New York and the pressure in New York, that's all a myth. I'm like, you sure about that? Because there's not every player can play for the Yankees. They can't play in New York because New York fans in New York are very they can be brutal at times.
Yeah, it's definitely. You try not to think about it as much, but subconsciously it's there. And so sometimes yes, you do want to do more, and that's the worst thing you can do is try to do more than it's expected of you, but to stay within yourself and just be you. But as athletes, we try to do too much and try to go over what we're supposed to, and sometimes that's what happens, and it can be very frustrating mentally for the player. I said I know the fans don't see that part of how frustrating it is for us when we don't be able to perform to our own ability, let alone the ability of the fans in the city. It kills us just as bad. So it's not like we sit there and like, okay, whatever. That's I think that's one of the things that if I could let fans know that it kills us as well when we don't do what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, as I said, man, I mean the sport is not easy, because I know a lot of fans, and in general, right? I'm not going to just say Yankees fans, but a lot of fans are always like, what's going on? These guys are not playing well today, or these guys are getting paid. And I'm like, you know what? You go out there and
go out let's hit some ground balls. We'll see if you can catch 1 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a hitter in baseball, you hit the ball 3 out of 10 times. I mean, that's considered good, because that's a 300 average.
You can just do it 2 out of 10 times now and still get paid.
Yeah, these days, right? I know that truth, man. I mean, so you go 2 out of 10, you go, you hit 230, 240, 250. That's considered good. It's like the rules of hitting the ball of batting average have changed. Now they're now they're focusing on other things of like, hitting the ball hard and throwing the ball hard. And, so they're focusing on different types of analytics now. So, what are your thoughts on the game today? I mean, because when you came up, it was so much different. There's been new rules implemented. There's been lot of different things that now teams are focusing on. It's become very analytically driven. So, what's your thought on all these changes that have happened?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying to make the game better, but still at the same time, you can't change it so much where it makes it unwatchable. And the good thing about baseball is there's no clock like in other sports like football. You can't run the clock out. You can't speed it up. We have innings. We have outs. I think, and using to get to the pitch clock, yes, guys shouldn't take a minute to get ready on the mound, or I get that, to try to speed it up, but make it to a point to where everybody's comfortable, not to where for me as a pitcher, I didn't take my time, but I didn't rush. I made sure I cleared my mind and okay, I'm ready. There's nothing worse, I think, for the pitcher. You throw the ball, you catch it, and for me, I had a bad back. I had a bad back. So say I threw a pitch, I tweaked my back. I need a couple extra seconds, but now I got to get the ball and get back on the mound and start pitching again before I can just calm down for a second, or I can call it. I think there's timeouts, but you can't get a really trip from the trainer and stuff like that these days. So, then you get guys who start speeding up their delivery and start messing up their mechanics. So I think that rule I think they made it less this coming up year. I think, didn't they? Now you have to do it, pitching it faster. Any idea?
Well, I think it's like 20 seconds.
By the time they catch it and you get it, something like that.
Yeah. So the batter has to, once they step in, the batter has to step into the plate. And they can't take their time. So it's not like the Nomar Garcia Parra days where you're just
that was insane. Him is
where you're just readjusting your gloves, and then now you're digging your feet into the dirt and taking your time, taking your little practice swings, and then now you're ready to go. No, it's like the batters have to they have to get in, and then the pitch clock it's like 20 seconds. So they're trying to get the guys, they're trying to get the game going. They're trying to speed up the game.
Yeah, I get it. I get it, but to a point, you can't make it to where it's just out of control. To me, it's not. I don't think it's that good for the game. Maybe 30 seconds would be a little bit better, but that's just me. Then the ghost runner or the runner on second base in extra innings.
Yeah,
that to me that makes no sense.
Right. So,
in the bigger bases that they're trying. But to be honest, I really haven't watched that much baseball since I've been done, and especially not since all these new rule changes that I'm not going to say his name. The commissioner has decided to implement, and I'm not going to. I don't even want to bring up the new rule, the golden at bat rule or whatever. That's
don't get me started.
He's just doing everything he can to. I mean, we always would joke about, I love the analytical guys. They're great. They have great information, but we always called them little computer geeks. These guys. No offense, guys. No offense, computer guys. But I always just say, the MLB is their own real life video game. So pretty much is what they're doing. They're telling the coaches what to do with their own players, as opposed to letting the players play the game instinctively and do what they're supposed to do. They're getting told by these guys, we got to move this guy here. We got to move him here. So to me, it's like their own real life video game in a way. It is. I think it's messing up the game. Again, there's great information is great, but you can't make it run the game.
No, and the thing is, it's like they're trying to create like a perfect movie, right? They're trying to create a movie is what it is they're trying to do. I mean, there's a time and place for analytics. Some teams do a really good job with it. Then there are other teams, not so much. Yeah, there's a time and place to use analytics. Analytics is a good tool, but you got to put eyes on the game. Yep. Sometimes you got to go with your gut feeling, and that's how it was back in the day. And a lot of times when managers went with their gut feeling, or when coaches went with their gut feeling, there was a lot of times when they were like, you know what, we made the right decision. But now it's like they're going off of what the guys behind the computers are saying, and they're like, "Hey, you should do this," and it's like, well, I beg to differ. But now it's like, yeah, you're being controlled by computers and robots. Which, speaking of robots, I don't know. I'm sure you've heard, but they're going to implement the robot umpires for spring training.
Yeah.
So they're going to test it not in all the stadiums, but in some of them, and they might start to they might implement it. It might become official like in 2026. They're going to get feedback from the teams and the managers and the players and whatnot, the front office of those teams. But it seems like they're going the robot way. And I mean, some people are for it, some people are against it because, I know people get frustrated with the umpires, but I feel like at the same time, it kind of adds excitement to the game.
Yeah, it does. But if they're going to do that, how are they going to call it regulation? Or is it, and it's going to adjust? Is it from the knees to the armpits? That's what it's in the strike zone, right? Or the rule book, right? Or armpits to knees, but it's in the width of the plate. That's fine. As a pitcher, I'll take height as instead of width any day. So, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. But yeah, we're just a little over 45 minutes into the live stream. So do appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out with myself and Kyle Farnsworth. So appreciate having you on, man. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? Anything else you wanted to say? If you want to let everybody know where they can find you, what you're up to these days?
No, just trying to get back as much as I can. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I think my Instagram is the Kyle Farnsworth and Twitter is 24_7 at Farnsworth. I think something like that.
Yeah, I'm following you on Twitter, so
okay.
Or X, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, that's right. X. I'm sorry. That's
yeah, it's all right. Twitter, X.
But yeah, just trying to just give back and just enjoy life now, and just have fun. So, and just pretty much it.
Awesome, man. Well, Kyle, again, thank you for taking the time out of your evening to jump on and talk to us. They greatly appreciate it. I really enjoyed it, so I hope you did as well. And we'll love to have you come back on one day.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Just let me know.
Will do, man. Will do. Again, thank you for coming on, and have a good night, and see you next time.
All right, thank you guys. All right, have a good one.
Thanks. You too. All right. Well, folks, I hope you all enjoyed that interview. I know I did. Kyle Farnsworth. So, that's a big name. That's a big name. And I did see the breaking news. Clay Holmes is a New York Met. So that's the breaking news. That news broke out while I was interviewing Kyle Farnsworth, and I know earlier. Clay Holmes had interest from several teams, and he was closing in on a team. So it looks like it's the Mets. It's a 3-year, $38 million contract, and there is an opt-out after the second year. So congratulations to Clay Holmes. I knew the Yankees weren't going to bring him back. So, good job to him. Hopefully he does well out there in Queens. Good luck to him. I won't go on the Clay Holmes, what do you call it? Rabbit hole. Sorry, I'm at like a loss for words. So, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'll go down that rabbit hole next time. But, good job. Good luck to Clay Holmes. But folks, I hope you all enjoyed the interview with Kyle Farnsworth. That was a fun interview. It was great talking to him. I'm glad he's doing well. I'm glad he's, has pursued other things and is pursuing other things and still staying active. I hope you guys and gals enjoyed the interview. I do. I'm looking to get more players, and shout out to Nathan Ramachandra for setting this up. I mean, Nathan and his team, I always say it, they do a great job of getting these, players to come on the show and taking their time, and they have these connections. So they're always helping us content creators out. So shout out to Nathan and his team. And I can't wait to see who the next guest is going to be. I know I was supposed to have Homer Bush on the show, but he had to reschedule. I know they're still working on it. There's still some other names, and there's one name, and all I will say is that he is not a baseball player, but Nathan and I have talked about him. So it's going to be myself and a few other people on the panel, and I think it's going to go down on my channel, and we're going to interview this person, and I'm looking forward to it once we get it all set up. Hopefully it happens early next year, so January 2025. Hopefully it goes down, and we can we'll interview that person. I'm not going to say the name because I want to wait till it's official. Then we'll talk. Then I'll break the news to all of you once I get the okay. But folks, again, thank you all for coming on. Hopefully you all enjoyed the interview. Thank you as always for the kind words. Make sure you all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this channel out with everyone you know. I would greatly appreciate it. Of course, if anything happens this weekend, I'll try and go live, if I'm able to. And, I know we're waiting for the decision on Juan Soto, and there's going to be more things happening, especially next week with the winter meetings. So stay tuned, people. Stay tuned. But thank you all for coming on. Have a good night, folks. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Enjoy the weekend coming up. And I will see you all next time. Have a good night.